it makes me so angry to see this motherfucker basically try to call himself polyamorous and basically assert himself as sitting at the same table as the rest of us because, we have the screenshots essentially, to see this. I mean, like, Lainey, on her old account, Lainey bought because Greg consistently asked me to have one even though I didn't want one. He dogged her. He coerced her into accepting this situation, and now I guess I'm using that term for what she was back when this happened, and I'm sorry for misgendering Kai, but at the time of this, Kai was Lainey, and so to supporters of that particular movement and such, just understand that like I'm not comfortable with gender identity myself. So like any misgendering that takes place on my part is coming from somebody that is also equally non-conforming and is alienated by the same stuff. So it's purely on accident. So you know um you know Kai was like systematically pressured into this by this motherfucker. Like like genuine. Like I'm not saying that in a polyamorous situation, like you can't be like the aggressor who goes out and um, gets into a relationship and then tries to talk your partner into it. But that isn't what Greg did. I mean, there's a difference between like having a female partner and trying to talk her into accepting the relationship, accepting a polyamorous relationship and persuading her, and what he did, which is to get a basic no response and then keep digging at it, keep trying, and keep pushing and pushing and pushing somebody that didn't want to accept a situation like that until finally they relent and accept it. I mean, like that's not that's not like what it was like for somebody like me, like and my own situation. Like all I really did in my own arrangement was to find somebody that was already out there and openly admitting, taunting us almost by telling us, sorry boys, I can't, I'm not, I don't belong to any one person basically, and I don't practice that kind of relationship style, and of course. My mind was like, hey, this reminds me of a situation I've been in before, but back then I wasn't ready for it. Now, this is just coming home. And, my partner was already out there living the lifestyle. There was no coercion. There was no, there was no need to, pry at the person and push them into the situation, which is what Greg did. Which is really abusive. It's really fucking abusive if he just doesn't let it go. Which is apparently, what happened here per, like, Kai's own, like, screenshots and admissions. I mean, like, for him to claim, fundamentally that he's one of us, that there's any, like, really real quality between, like, what happened in our sets of circumstances is just fucking absurd on its face. I mean, like, I didn't coerce anybody into anything. They were already out there leaning in that direction and there for the taking if I was willing to accept their terms. And, it's obvious that Greg is trying to get, narcissistic supply, because he's not willing to relinquish that sense of possessiveness. He's not willing to deal with the issues of like jealousy and whatnot that would push forward. He's not willing to let go of the idea that he possesses these girls. He's trying to build a harem, basically, where they all belong to him. And that's not what polyamory is. There's something wrong with this. This is not what it's supposed to be.